Thank you, Chair Lehner, Vice Chair Coach Height, members of the Senate Education Committee. I appreciate the opportunity. You've seen my written testimony there, and I wouldn't put you through the pain of reading it to you. And I've enjoyed all the dialogue about this very serious issue and circumstance we have. I've had the opportunity to travel all over the state. I've been in every high school in every one of our metro cities in Ohio, and in most every one in all the major cities in the nation. And that's why when asked to sit in and be a part of the discussion that was occurring in our community with the Department of Education, many of the civic leaders led by Tom Humphreys, I was more than anxious and willing to do so. In fact, I had a chance to visit off and on with all of our constituency in the Northeast Ohio area, and Senator Schiavone and Senator Cafaro and Representatives O'Brien and Burberry and before Hagan and so forth. And interestingly enough, in many of our discussions offline and social things and whatnot, the discussion always came back to what can we do to help our community in the educational situation. And I would try to turn the discussion, well, what can we do to help Youngstown State? But it would always go back to a very, very real situation. And when asked to talk about this academic distress committee reform, in my mind it was much larger than Youngstown, Ohio. Because I've been in all the other schools. I know we've got many challenges. And I agree with Senator Thomas. I've been in many elementary schools, many middle schools. Our teachers are working extremely hard. Our administrators are up to date in best practices. They understand what it takes to be successful. But it just hasn't seemed to be enough. And so I guess being an old coach like Senator Height, when things don't work in our world, we blame the coach. We blame the people at the top. And that maybe we didn't have the right program for them. Maybe we didn't provide what should be done for them. So when it was talked about that perhaps we needed to reform the academic distress committee setting, and then when they brought forward some of the things that maybe we could do to enhance that, it was interesting to me to sit in and see if I could contribute to those and make sure that we took the responsibility as the adults in the community. And as they talked about the CEO model and so forth, I've always been a believer that accountability, knowing who needs to be the person in the room that does engage everyone, that does make sure that everyone understands that without the other, every one of the others, really we're all insignificant without those others. That the model that they created with their committee and with their CEO model, it just so happened that our community was further along in the distress process, if you will. I don't believe that our community is any different than any of the other communities. We're all in distress, maybe just not called it. And as Tom can rattle off all those figures and so forth, whatever it is, it's not good enough. And there's way too many young people being affected by the lack of mobility that we're providing for them. So when asked to come and take part in the discussion to perhaps look at us as the state, what could we do better in an academic distress model? I was more than happy to do that, and many people were in to discuss it. Dick Ross and Buddy Harris and many of the people, John Kerry, we've talked to over the course of time, trying to get as much input as we can. Tom Humphreys and all the group of community members spent a lot of time trying to talk back and forth. Judge Douglas, so many people that have witnessed, maybe where we could get better. And again, as Senator Lehner said, I don't know exactly about the flaws we had in the process. Senator Yuko coming at whatever time we did, you know, I don't know. But I was taken by this picture as well. And I guess that further reinforces in my mind we have to do something better. And if we can do it better, and we, as we've talked with our constituency in the Youngstown area, if we can be the leaders in this, because we happen to be at this point in the road, and if we can find out if this is the best step, and maybe we have to, I've thrown out many game plans in the first quarter, thank goodness, and maybe we can just find how we can figure this out, and maybe it will benefit all of our metro areas. And it was given a lot of thought, it was given a lot of care, and I would open it up for questions. I can promise you I don't have the wisdom that Mr. Humphreys has in terms of studying and so forth, but I do know that in my 13 months in Youngstown, the discussion has been more about what can we do to help our city and their schools than any other individual discussion I've been a part of in many, many events and many, many venues. So I would throw it open for questions.
Thank you very much, President Russell.